Dark truths are deep, personal, cautious things that we hide from the public. We hide from people close to us and people that are not close to us. We see dark truths as things that the world should not know, that are either embarrassing or unpleasant or unappealing to the general public or to people around us. So we keep them to ourselves. We tell ourselves this should not go out. We tell ourselves this should be with me alone. This is an information that only I should know. So dark truths are things that cautiously and unconsciously we deliberately keep away from the prying eye of the public, of our families, of our friends, of people around us.
We have dark truths in life because of low self-esteem, and people don't want others to mock them. They don't want others to step on them and take them too low and push them aside. So that's why so many people is having dark truth in them.
I always say this, life is very dynamic. Something is always happening, either good or bad, either positive or negative. And when negative things happen, or unpleasant things happen, or even good things, we like to keep them to ourselves because we do not know how the next person will react. We do not know the effect of letting such informations out.
So managing it is like telling someone that you are close to. It might be your parent, it might be your friend, it might be your loved one, it might be your wife or husband, whatever the case may be. So telling them really help them to come close to you and not stigmatize and be able to help you in your medications and all other things.
There are a lot of consequences of dark truth. And it is amazing how we undermine it because, like I said, when something is within you, you can control it. You can control your reaction to it. You know how you feel. But of course, you cannot control the next person's reaction. That's why it's their reaction. So the consequences is not saying these things, you might not get help. A situation that could easily be remedied, or, you know, they say two heads are better than one. Most times we keep them to ourselves and that problem becomes a problem for a very long time. You see people going on with diseases they can cure, or with situations that solutions could be rendered to, but because they keep it to themselves, those things go on for a long time, causing even more harm than good.
The consequences of dark truth, so many. Let me give you a few examples. If you're having dark truth, you will not be able to stand up. You will not be able to speak for yourself. You will just isolate yourself. You want to be alone.
The consequences are a lot. Pain, people go through a lot of pain. They go through shame, even in the face of discovery. They go through anxiety. What will people say when they hear this? So it's a lot of negativity sometimes when people around you are not realistic, when people around you are not sensitive and sympathetic.
Because of all this, you fail in your endeavors. And
so I think that the effect of dark truths in people's life, whether it's body odor, a disease you're hiding from the world, a bad behavior that only you and very few people know you have, a disorder, depression, whatever it is you're hiding from the world has a lot of consequences, has a lot of effects, positive or negative, but most times it's always negative.
The advice I can give to people in this kind of situation is to get somebody they can confide in, somebody that they trust, somebody that they can tell everything, somebody that they are free with.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in again. This is another episode of Emotions with Omenasa, and I am so grateful that you are tuned in today. This is a show where I help you and I remind you that you are in control of your emotions, because we can't be having your emotions to be in control of you, because you existed before your emotions. You were here before your situations. You were here before the interruptions. You were here before the distractions. So how come that all of a sudden the distractions seem to be bigger and they all seem to be in control of you? That's what this show is about. This show is to make sure that you stop allowing everything to be in control of you and you be in control of your emotions. So what I love about this show is that I get to talk about everything. And most of you know that my passion is to get people emotionally healed. So we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have bankers. I was called into this world to go through experiences like a catalyst. But the difference with me is that I write a book out of my situations. I write a song out of my situations. I do a talk show. I have a TV show. I do a radio show. I do not waste my pain. And I know that you don't waste your pain. And if you have been wasting your pain, make sure that you stop that today and make sure that you use your pain as an investment. Make something out of your pain. Okay, I'm kind of drifting, but that's what this show is about. This show is as real as it can get. We talk about depression. We talk about low self-esteem. We talk about spousal abuse. We talk about incest. We talk about infidelity. We talk about infertility. We talk about literally looking at your kids and you hate your kids. And you can't tell anybody that you hate your kids. You can't tell people, I don't like my son. You can't do that, but it's an emotion. And that's what we tackle on this show. So, this is part 2 of Dark Truths. I did a show on Dark Truths part 1. And I pretty much talked about the truth that we know within us, but it's so dark and we don't talk about it. We don't talk about cheating. We don't talk about fighting. We don't talk about our body image. How we actually think that we are ugly. How we think that God could have probably made us look better. Maybe he should have made us look lighter. Or maybe we should have been darker. Or maybe we should have been taller. Or maybe we should have been shorter. Maybe we shouldn't even be this skinny. I don't like the way that I look. That's a dark truth. I also talked about how some of us have halitosis. That's when the breath stinks. That's a dark truth, because it's only you who can tell yourself the truth. I have bad breath. You understand? Like, that's a truth, but it's dark. So, excuse me, I just burped. Okay, so a dark truth is something that is highly embarrassing, but it's the truth. So, like bad breath, like body odor. You know that your armpit stinks. And when people even try to give you a cologne or give you perfume, you get insulted. No. They're only trying to help, okay? But you know what, though? Whether they're trying to help you or they're not trying to help you, you have to try to help yourself by admitting that you have a problem. So the first way to turn a truth into light is to, first of all, acknowledge the truth. Acknowledge that it is there. Acknowledge that you don't have money. Acknowledge that you don't like yourself. Acknowledge that you don't like that situation that you're in. Acknowledge where you are. When you acknowledge where you are, then it can easily shift from being dark into being bright, because everything is about perspective. So in part 1, we talked about body image, as I said. We also talked about the body odor. We talked about using deodorant. We talked about cheating. Being faithful to your boss, being faithful to your spouse, being faithful to your pastor, being faithful to your rabbi, being faithful in going to church, being faithful in going to the mosque, basically being faithful in your commitments and not cheating. I also showed you how I was cheating out of this book, because if I had prepared myself, I wouldn't have to be cheating out of this book. So I also mentioned that the reason why people cheat and the reason why people take shortcuts is because that they did not nurture what they have and they did not prepare. So the best way to handle that cheating aspect of darkest truths is to prepare. Make sure that you prepare. I also talked about how there is no time for anything. There's an auntie of mine, and she lives in Atlanta, and I keep on saying, auntie, there's no time. I don't have time to call you. I don't have time. And she said this. She said, well, you didn't make out time. And that is so true. Her name is Mrs. Fumi Shitabe. Auntie, hi. That point that you made to me was right. You will never have time. You have to make out the time. There's 24 hours in a day. You have to make out the time to brush your teeth. You have to make out the time to see your boss. You have to make out the time to go to work. You have to make out the time to pick your kids up from school and drop your kids off, and stop letting strangers take your children to school. You don't even know the friends that your children are going out with. You don't go to PTA meetings because you don't have time. You have time, but we just don't make out time. So one of the dark truths is that a lot of us would want to be better spouses. A lot of us would want to be better wives and be better husbands and be better parents, but we don't have time. No, you have time. You just have to create that time. So the same way, excuse me, but the same way that you create time to go to the bathroom is the same way that you create time to tell your children, I love you. It's the same way that you pick up the phone and you call your cousin, or you call your mother, or you call your brother. It's the same determination that you have to write that resume. It's the same determination that you should have to take care of some things. I'm going to just give one last point before I go on break. And this is a fresh point. It's not from the one before. Don't make decisions for anybody. That's a dark truth. A lot of people want to be doctors because of somebody. A lot of people want to be lawyers because of what that person said. I will show you. I will show them. Because of that thing that they said to me, I will show them well. Okay. Don't make decisions because of people. Make decisions because of you. Because let me tell you, success is inevitable. Okay? Success is inevitable. When you are successful, it's an automatic revenge. But don't go out trying to revenge. I'll add some more flesh to that when I come back. So welcome once again to Emotions with Omenasa. And if you're just tuning in, this is a show where I encourage you to not allow your emotions be in control of you, but be in control of your emotions. I am sitting right here in my passion. I am sitting in my paradise. My paradise is doing exactly what I was called to do. And that is to encourage people. I love to encourage people. And I think that I've gone through so much in my life because since I say that I'm going to encourage people, God has allowed things to happen to me. And then he stands by and he watches. Let me see if she's going to break. And I never break. I could cry, but I never break. And that's what this show is about. It's for me to encourage you not to break, because you're stronger than you think you are. You are stronger than you think you are. That situation is not stronger than you. It's not bigger than you. It's just an issue. And I always say issues are tissues. Okay? You can get rid of them. Okay. So our topic is on dark truths. And I did a former episode on part 1, dark truths. And dark truths is pretty much those secrets in your life that are true and they're dark. So your breath stinks. It's a truth and it's dark. And you can't tell people that your breath is stinky, because it's really embarrassing to pretty much go and oh, my breath stinks. But guess what? The whole world knows that your breath stinks. So why don't you just take care of it? You know? Or body odor. Or a dark truth is not accepting your body the way that it is. You think that you're ugly. You think that you don't look as good as you could look. Okay? That's a dark truth. Cheating. Cheating on a job, cheating on a spouse, cheating, it's a dark truth. People cheat because there's a void. People cheat because there's an emptiness somewhere. People cheat on exams because their brain is empty in that particular content. People cheat because of those reasons. So instead of cheating, why don't we just fill up that void? And let's fill it up the right way. I'm not even going to go into that because I've said a lot about that. So you're going to have to listen to or watch more of these shows to connect those dots. Okay, so I was talking about not making decisions for people, but making decisions for yourself. Okay? Do not make decisions for people, make decisions for yourself. What do I mean by that? I pretty much mean, don't say, I'm going to be a doctor because they told me that I was stupid. No. Be a doctor because you want to become a doctor. Because it doesn't make any sense if you don't like blood, but you endure 8, 10, 20 years of schooling because you're trying to prove them wrong. And you don't like blood. You don't like watching people sick. You don't like watching people die. You don't even like the smell of quinine. You don't like medication. You don't like long terminologies. How on earth are you going to survive? How will you survive being a doctor? You don't like waking up on time, or you don't like being interrupted or being abruptly shifted. You don't like your plans being changed and you want to become a doctor. It's not possible. So make sure that all your plans and all of your decisions are decisions that you want to make. And this brings me, ladies and gentlemen, to this topic about a lot of people going to school, studying what they hate, becoming who they don't like because their parents said that they have to be so and so. Their parents said that they have to marry so and so. Look, your parents will die and you will be stuck being who you didn't want to be, being with who you didn't want to be. Is that what you want? No. So be true to yourself and be authentic to yourself. It's a dark truth. A lot of people are living a lie, and it's ironic that that lie has become a truth in their life. So let's eradicate that darkness from it. Let's put light in it, and let's become authentic. Make decisions for you. Become who you want to be for yourself, not because you're trying to revenge. And I'm talking this way because I've been down that road too. I've made a lot of decisions because I wanted to show so and so. Sure, they said that I was going to be this. Sure, they said that I will never make it. I will show them. No, revenge does not get you anywhere. It really doesn't. Wake up in the morning, do all that you can do for yourself. Enjoy your life. Eat what you want to eat. Okay, I went down the journey of being a vegetarian and then I gave up. And then I went down the journey of being a pescatarian and then I gave up. And now I'm just trying to be healthy. I will probably go back to being a pescatarian. But my whole point is eat right. Okay, get rid of the beef. Drink a lot of water. Don't eat after 7 o'clock. Eat a lot of fruits. 50% of your meal should be vegetables and fruits. Be healthy. Take vacations. Swim. Travel. Expand your mind. Be exposed, for goodness sake. Okay? If you don't have so much money, just sit down on the bus and just keep going. I'll never forget the day that I wanted to see all of Abuja. Of course, it was impossible to see all of Abuja in one day. So I got on an Okada and I told him to just keep going. I said, just keep driving. Just keep riding. I found out that, oh my gosh, there are more salons in Abuja than I thought. There are more churches than I thought. There are very beautiful places in this city. Wow. Okay? So expand your mind, get knowledge. And you can only get knowledge by moving and standing up from where you are. We're still in part 2. Don't pinch pennies. Don't pinch pennies. I am the queen of pinching pennies. I don't like spending money. I don't like spending money at all. Okay, but the older I'm getting and the more exposed I'm getting and the more experiences that I'm getting, I am learning that it's okay to spend the money that God has given you. It is okay to spend the money that you have worked hard for. Yes, after you remove your tithe, spend the money. Buy that furniture, buy that dress that you've always wanted to buy. Okay, don't pinch pennies. And please don't do your nails for 200 naira now. No, it is okay to actually spend 1,000 or spend more, because it's a mentality. When you pinch, then you get little. Expand your mind and spend. Don't be foolish, okay? Have boundaries, set boundaries, but don't be scared to spend money. I used to be very scared to spend money because I wasn't sure of when next I was going to get money. But when you pay your tithes and when you spend honest money, money will come to you. Okay, just 2 more points. Grinding and working. Stop saying, I go hustle. We are hustling. I am grinding. No, you're not hustling. You're not hunting. You are not a tiger. You're not a bear. You're a human being. And you are working. You are not hunting. You are not groping. in the dark, you are working. If you say that you're grinding, then you're gonna grind and you're gonna sweat and you're going to eat hand to mouth and you're going to not yield fruit. Really, very little fruit. So instead of grinding, work. Instead of hustling, work. Instead of sweating, work. Because work does pay off. And lastly, preserve your relationships. Text people, call people, give them gifts, nurture your relationships, visit people. For me, every Monday, I call almost everyone I know. Almost everyone that I know that I still want them in my life. Now, that doesn't mean that if I don't call you on a Monday, it doesn't mean that I don't love you, okay? But I'm just saying that I make a habit of calling people because I do a lot of things. I do so much, and sometimes I just don't have time, but I make out time. I make out time to preserve my relationships, preserve your marriage, preserve your pastoral relationship, preserve your mentoring relationships, preserve your relationship with your boss, preserve your relationship with your children, but most of all, preserve your relationship with yourself. Eat right, sleep 8 hours, take showers, use the best and the best of moisturizers, drink a lot of water, love yourself. Don't call yourself stupid. Don't call yourself crazy. I have done all of these things, and I have found out that I am so much brighter, and I have become so much better because I preserved myself. And when you are preserved, believe me, everybody around you will comply. See you next time.
You will have to jump off a cliff just knowing that you will not crash. If you're not in control of your emotions will be in control of you.